recording. Go ahead.
Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone from wherever you are. Welcome to this session on the graduate studies in the ECSE department at RPI. I'm Professor Partha Dara. I'm a professor and also the graduate program co-director of this program at RPI. I'd like to also introduce our colleagues, Mary Kate Scardillo. She is at the Office of Admissions at RPI. She's the one who has been organizing this, so thank you very much, Mary Kate. And also I'd like to introduce Mrs. Kelly Kritz. She's the graduate program coordinator in our ECC department, and most of you will actually interact with her during the process of application and beyond. So with that, I'd like to start my presentation today. The outline of my presentation here today is going to be a brief overview of RPI in general, the School of Engineering, our department, the Electrical Computer and Systems Engineering Department. And then I'm going to actually, before that, I'll also give you an overview of, a brief overview of what is happening in our field in the 21st century, so that you get a sense for the involvement that you will be having while you are in our department and RPI with respect to cutting edge research and education. I'll talk about the signature thrust area in our research and the program, the graduate program in general, and some tips about the graduate program selection process and what are the important things that we look forward to in any application. So here is the graduate program office in the ECSE department, Electrical Computer Systems Engineering Department. Professor Al Hussein Abu Zaid is the doctoral program director of the PhD program. I am the co-director and I manage the MS program. We work together and along with Ms. Kelly Kritz, who is the senior student services administrator in our department. So a little bit about RPI. You can find a lot of information on the RPI website, but here is you can see the campus here. It's a beautiful location, small campus, but in a very nice small town in Troy, New York. It's one of the oldest technological research university in the Western Hemisphere, founded in 1824, almost 200 years ago. In 4 years, we'll be celebrating our 200th year of establishment. So it's a very old university. So we have a lot of history, a lot of technology and education developed in this university. Currently, we have around 7,500 students in the campus right now enrolled and close to 100,000 living alumni. We are ranked in the top 50 amongst the close to top 50 amongst the US university according to the US News and World Report. So we are very highly ranked. The location is here in the map. So this is the New York State, and then the other states that you can see in the map here. So we are approximately 2.5 hours north by driving from New York City, and also we are around 2.5 to 3 hours away from Montreal and Boston. So you're well located here. Here is Niagara Falls. So kind of in a very beautiful location in New York State, especially doesn't matter whether you like outdoor activities in the summer or winter. There's plenty of things to do apart from just focusing on your research and education. So you've got a lot of outdoor activities, especially for people who like to either hike or even ski. Plenty of snow around here to enjoy the winter months. Coming to the research at Rensselaer, RPI, we have a research campus with around 750 labs, centers that include centers, research centers, 32 research centers, and close to 1,000 PhD students working in different fields. Like I mentioned, in different fields, some of the signature thrust areas at RPI are the energy, environment, and smart systems, biotechnology and life sciences, media, arts, science and technology, computational science and engineering, and nanotechnology and advanced materials. So these are the signature thrust area, and then cross-disciplinary research happens in different departments. And in addition to that, of course, we have the specific niche, research niche in every department, which I'll talk about for our department next. But the key thing here is we're working on topics which are the grand challenges for the 21st century, and it helps in advancing not just technology but advancing the society and changing the world, which is kind of our motto at RPI. So here are the different schools and programs at RPI. We have architecture, business, engineering, humanities, arts and social sciences, information technology and web sciences, and sciences. In the School of Engineering, again, we are one of the oldest technological school in the country. We have 7 departments, 12 undergraduate programs and 19 graduate programs, close to 140 faculty members, professors, and then we have around 3,700 to 4,000 undergraduate students and close to 500 PhD students. And annual funding typically is around $50 million, which is a big amount for funding good amount of research. And here are again some of the areas that I show here, which are specific to the School of Engineering, and that includes engineering for life sciences, advanced materials, big data, computation, energy sustainability, and also systems automation and control, which many of you might be interested in our department. So before we get to the specific research area in our department, I like to quickly talk about what's happening in the 21st century. So if you look at technology changes very fast, and we need to make sure that the research that we are doing is at the forefront of the field, and it is timely. That means we are doing research which is not obsolete or just for the sake of doing research. I have actually educated myself in India and I was in Europe. I've spent a lot of time traveling around the globe for research, interaction, and collaboration. And just to people who are coming into the field right now, I like to mention that the research that we do is highly relevant for the future and solving also current problems. So that's actually very, very important here at RPI. We're not doing research that is solely for fundamental. So if you look at the research areas, what are the hot topics these days? And then I want to show you like what are the areas which we are researching. So if you think about the hot topics today, and also it's going to be hot in the future, nanoelectronics beyond CMOS, integrated circuit, is a hot topic. As you know, Moore's law limits are kind of like, we almost surpassed that or going to surpass that very soon. And the devices that we are making, electronic devices, they're all nanoscale, which means that we need to start incorporating quantum mechanics, different kind of processes in the semiconductor foundry. And so that's one of the research areas which is very, very hot, and it requires new knowledge and new kind of development of new knowledge, which is required for advancing the field further. The second one is in the category of artificial intelligence, which includes also the brain-computer interfaces. And you probably know that artificial intelligence is been used in today's modern world, as well as it's going to become a big part of our society going forward. So that's actually where robotics and embedded systems, they all come into the play in terms of the research opportunities. The third one is electric vehicles. So maybe like a couple of decades from now, we all will be driving electric cars, most of us. So that's actually again a field of very, very far, a lot of research, especially in the area of energy storage and vehicle automation, autonomous vehicles that you see here, self-driving cars. So that's actually again where you can use a lot of the electrical engineering and computer systems and computer science knowledge. Then you have got the drones and space technologies. These are also part of ECSE department research portfolio, where all the way from very theoretical to experimental research contribute towards these kind of technologies. And then you have got high performance computing, which is in two categories. One is the neuromorphic computing, which basically does computing based on how human brain processes information. And the other one is exascale computing. That means like computing a large amount of data, very, very big data, and analyzing that in an energy efficient way. So these are again very hot topics, and they're going to be like this for another few decades at least. So they are, again, some of them have already advanced quite a bit, and some of them are in emerging stages. And this is where the research opportunities come to us, and we actually address many of these in our research. Going forward, we also have other research areas such as digital manufacturing, which is again energy efficient manufacturing, green manufacturing, also automation. And this is like where the 3D printing comes into the picture, and we have a lot of research in robotics that contribute towards such research areas which are relevant, technologically relevant in the industry directly. Then we have got clean energy in form of solar energy, wind energy, smart grid. So this is all done in the area of electric power and power engineering in our department. And then finally, we have got healthcare systems as well as cyber security, which are again two major areas where a lot of problems exist and solutions are required. And we have research going on in these areas. So our research areas are very well aligned with the challenges of the 21st century and what is required. So that means when you engage with us in any research area in our department, your opportunity to first of all get a job, and B, make significant contribution as a leader, scientific and or engineering leader in the real world becomes significantly high. I also want to quickly mention that there is a document called the National Academy of Engineering Grand Challenges for Engineering, and these are the grand challenges. And if you look at the grand challenges, there are many things that that these technologies already exist, but there are many challenges that in these technologies that are required for we need to solve them for the 21st century. And some of them which are in the boxes are where our department are making a huge contribution. So this also shows that we're not just looking at the technological requirement for the industry, but also like what are the grand challenges from engineering point of view. Examples would be how to make solar energy economical, how to advance health informatics, how to prevent nuclear terror. These are all the examples. Cyber security, like I said, these are all the some of the examples where the research also fits in with the National Academy of Engineering Grand Challenges topics. This is actually an interesting chart. This is to motivate students. We show this, that it's been shown that the stuff that I talked talked about in the last like 5 or 7 minutes. These are not just important for you to know, but people have actually, there's a research which shows that students who are aware of these grand challenges, these the what's happening in the field in today, they are able to actually make better contribution while they are doing their research. So if you're aware of what's going on in the field, what are the grand challenges, what are the challenges, then you're able to actually make more contribution, more relevant contribution, and more useful contribution while you're doing a research. And so that's why knowing all of these other topics is as important as knowing your own technical stuff that you're going to be doing in your research. And this is actually another chart which shows because since research is very, very vast, it has got areas of fundamentals and applied and anything in between. So if there are 4 quadrants, one starting off with tinkering, that means you just like do something to learn. Then you have got pure basic research, it's not the board quadrant. And then you have got a pure applied research like Edison, that you're in the industry trying to make something, to make money, to make a system work. So that's actually Edison quadrant. We are in the pasture quadrant, where basically we do fundamental research for addressing. We do fundamental research, but that's actually used for addressing some real world system. So that's what our focus is in our department primarily. It's in the pasture quadrant. So it's known as use inspired basic research. So now switching gear, talking about our department, we are a small department. Actually, if you think about big universities, so which means that like you have a lot of interaction between faculty members and students. So typically, undergraduate student population around 700, master students around like 25 to 30, doctoral students between 75 and 100. We have got 28 professors who are tenure and either tenure or tenure track, and then we have got professor of practices and lectures around eight, and we have close to 8 to 10 staff members. Again, we are ranked very high. Most our professors have won a lot of honors, national honors and international honors, which are listed here, including IEEE fellows, NAE member, and so on. And also entrepreneurship award. That's actually another important thing in our department. Many professors have their own startup companies, which means they not only do basic research, but they also know how to take technology out of the lab or out of the research into the real world. So that's actually a very important thing in today's world. We offer BS, MS, MH, and PhD degrees. Our research productivity is very high. We publish around 120 journal articles every year and close to $10 million research funding. And we're actually very big on innovation, on pedagogy. That means like how do we integrate research and education in our courses. So that's actually something which has been really there for a long, long time. We have innovated a lot of things in education, like such as the studio mode of education, which is very useful now with days with the online version of education as well. So that's something which we have started, and then we are doing very good at that, even advancing that further. So this is the research areas. These are the research areas, 6 research areas in our department. You can find more information on our website. We have got control and automation, where typically the robotics, the field of robotics and embedded systems exist. Then you've got information science and systems. You've got communication and networking, energy power systems, electronics and photonics, where my research is, and then you've got computer system design. So these are the overarching research areas in our department. And we do have what I mentioned as research centers, which means that these are huge, centers where there's a lot of funding, and they're working on a specific area of technology with professors from different fields, even different areas, and also different universities within US, as well as collaboration with foreign universities. So we have the NSF National Science Foundation, very prestigious engineering research center on lighting, solid state lighting, LED lighting. I'm actually part of the center. And then we have the Center for Ultra Wide Area Resilient Energy, Electric Energy Transmission Network. This is again where the smart grid comes into the picture. So this is again another NSF Engineering Research Center. Then you've got Center for Future Energy Systems, which are looking at all the way from energy storage to smart grid, renewable energy, and so on. And then we have got Center for Automation Technologies and Systems, which is the CATS, which looks at all the robotics based technologies. And then we have got Connection One, the NSF University Cooperation Research Center on Education and Electronic and Photonic Technologies. In addition, we have got other centers on our RPI campus, through which our faculty members in ECSE collaborate with other professors and groups on campus. I like to actually show this slide to show an ensemble of the very famous people who are graduates from our department, to showcase that we are historically we have produced very pioneers. We have produced pioneers and leaders in the field. For example, Steve Sasson is the inventor of digital camera. So Curtis Prime is the co-founder of NVIDIA. Professor Jay Baliga, he's a professor in North Carolina, but he also got the White House Technology Award a few years ago. So these are all very prominent people. Of course, we have got much more than this slide, but just want to show you one simple ensemble of people who are very successful in the real world from our department. We also actually are well known for our scholarly product, and that can be gauged from the books that are published by our professors. And so here is again a list of some of the books that have been published by our professors. In fact, actually, some of the books, like this book by Professor Michael Schur, Physics of Semiconductor Devices, I actually read this, studied this 30 years ago when I started my graduate education in India. So these are very, very good books. Okay, so they are world renowned, and then people use them all over the world. So we, like I mentioned, we engage in students at all level, all the way from kindergarten to high school to undergraduate to postgraduate. Postdoctoral fellows and so on. So this actually help us in the, like, this help us out, not only do outreach to students at every level, but also it helps students. The students who are engaged, they also learn better by helping their peers. So as you know that you can learn a stuff better when you teach somebody else. So that's how we also like engage our graduate students in helping us, let's say during the summer for some time, to help us with the kindergarten through 12, K through 12 programs, or even undergraduate researchers working with PhD students. So that actually is very engaging, and that helps everyone, and we are big on this kind of mode of pedagogy in our department. So coming to the degree program, we have the computer and systems engineering, electrical energy and electric power, and the degrees are shown here: BS, MS, MNG, PhD for these two, and then MS, MNG, and PhD for electric power. Typically for MS and Master of Engineering, Master of Science and Master of Engineering, it's 30 credits beyond 30 credit hours. You require 30 credits beyond the BS degree. If you're doing PhD, then that's 72 credits beyond BS. So that means if you have a master's degree, you already have 30, and then you need 42 extra to get your PhD. Typically, 12 to 15 credits per semester is the load that we recommend and students take while they're here, which means that for getting a master's or MNG, Master of Engineering degree, it's anywhere between 2 to 4 semesters, which is basically 1 to 2 years after BS. This is after BS. And for PhD, it's anywhere between 3 to 5 years, which translates to 6 to 10 semesters after BS. So that's actually very important to note that we have very aggressive programs where students can get a PhD degree in 3 years. I mean, I got many students who graduated in 3.5 years, and they came in as like students after just finishing their BS degree, and then they could finish the PhD within 3.5 years. So that's actually completely possible. One thing which many students don't realize, that graduate program is all funded. That means you get paid to get educated. In our department, typically 95% of the students, doctoral students, they receive fully financial support in form of either a research assistant or teaching assistant. The other 5%, they have their, or they bring their own scholarship, or they fund themselves on their own through various modes. But graduate program is fully funded. You don't pay for graduate program anywhere in the US universities. Now coming to the student selection process, typical average GPA we're looking at is around 3.63 for our program. The GRE scores 153 verbal, 165 quantitative, and 3.5 analytical. These are typical scores. An average TOEFL score is around 110. We get somewhere between 350 to 400 applicants every year. We accept around 10% of the applicants, around 20 for PhD, 20 for MS. That's a typical thing. And then, like I mentioned, the primarily and the you get funded if you are a doctoral student, if you are selected, and the financial aid is, even though primarily for PhD students, we do have sometimes funding available for MS students, but that's actually not the highest priority for us, because we like to see students stay here longer and get their doctoral degree. So that's why the financial support is primarily focused for PhD students, but we do fund MS students when, if and when they are available to us beyond the PhD program funding. So now, one of the things which we look at very carefully is the statement of purpose and objectives when you apply. And I want to spend a couple of minutes on that. So statement of background and goals is very, very important. So how do you do that? We want to know basically about your interest in coming to our department. Why do you want to come to ECSE department at RPI for doing research? So for that, you need to, first of all, go to our website, do a little bit of research on what kind of areas, research areas are being pursued by our professors or different groups, and you can find that on the ECSE RPI people group. You can click at different professors and you can see the research areas. You should also take the initiative to go and Google search, do a Google search or Google Scholar about the publications that they have been contributing in the recent years and what they have published to find more about their research. So once you do this research about the different professors, you find out the ones you are interested in, and then you can actually talk about that in your application. You don't have to necessarily contact the professor. It's up to you. You can contact if you want to start a dialogue. We encourage that, but it's not necessary. So in your application, you need to talk about your interest, how it's aligned with any of the research interest in that department, research topic in our department with a specific group. And we recommend, like, you may have like one or two or even three different areas that you want to actually talk about, so that the probability of getting is higher. If you just choose one of them, then if that group is not accepting any student that year, then that will be a problem. So we recommend, like, maybe like one or two or three areas. You just look area meaning like the topics that you are interesting to you. You talk about that. You need to say what you found interesting, or what are your professional interests, and why you chose that specific research group. So that's actually something you should clearly mention. Then in your background information, you can also, like, specify if you had, let's say, any deficiencies, such as which that we should be knowing. Let's say you had perfect scores in all of the courses except in one semester you got like few courses when you had, let's say, B or a C in the course. There must be some reason for that. It could be that you are sick, or something went wrong during the exam, or whatever. Like, so if you want to actually, if you have any deficiencies in your transcript, we want to address that upfront, so that we know exactly that it is for a reason, so that we don't have to ask you again. So that's actually, again, it is a good idea to really address something that you feel would be deficiencies. You have any deficiencies in your transcript. Then any and it could be also because of career changes. If you have worked in the industry and then you're coming back and then you took some time to really get into the mode of exams and homework, and you had a few bad grades, that's not a showstopper for your application to be accepted. But if you can explain that, that helps a lot. Then we also actually want you to highlight any publications that you have, research publications, any presentations that you have made. Now, these are not actually required to get into the program. You may not have any of these. That's perfectly fine. But if you have, do highlight about your experience in publication, as well as any public speaking experiences that you have in conferences, or any forum that you have given, any technical talks. So those are actually important. So we like to see them. So that's actually also important. So with that, I am going to actually stop. Here are all the websites that you will find useful: the RPI ECSE department website, the admissions website. So if you have any questions related to the graduate application process, do contact the RPI admissions office at this address here. And if you have got any question related to the ECSE program, our program, then contact this grant info at ECSE.RPI. These slides will be available to you, so you'll have this information. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I'll be open for questions that you have, any questions that you have. Thank you again.